Alright, salutations to all of my gremlins, and for those of you gremlins who are watching this video, I welcome you to a brand new chapter in the book of our lives. In today's chapter, I'm basically going to speak in regards to my perspectives of how I perceive social media in general. Now, the reason why I had entitled this video as being anti-social media is because that is the surreal reality of the truth. And as hard as that has impacted your mind or your sense of beliefs and or the apertures of your mind or your consciousness, ultimately that is the supreme truth. That is the ultimate truth. Considering that time and time again throughout my experiences on social media, it has been all for nothing, and it has all been for a negative correlation of my experiences. And one example, which is a social media, to a degree it is a social media, it is websites such as meetme.com, Craigslist, and whatever else, social media. The only one of the greatest positive social media that I've had the opportunity to come across and belong and interact and involve myself as a part of is obviously this, for YouTube. YouTube, I'm also on Vimeo, as well as Twitter. So one thing I wanted to say in regards to Craigslist is that throughout time, I had posted advertisements online on there in particular in hopes to become successful in sharing a mutual relationship and our friendship to whomever that third party person is, that individual is, between that person or that group and or myself. And it seems that whenever you post your advertisement up on Craigslist, it appears that there's an example where there has been quite a few, handful of select individuals who had contacted me, and it always seems to happen. I'm always polite, I'm always respectable. There's nothing that fills in the void in between, in the gaps of imperfection. Well, ultimately, we as human beings, we are imperfect. However, I pride myself in, as I differ from most, as I truly am different from most. And ultimately, they would contact you for, speak to you for a little while. They would hold a decent conversation up until to the point where you no longer hear from them. So ultimately, it always seems to have as our end result in a final conclusion to being nothing more or nothing less than a disappointment, as it turns out to be an ocean of disgust and disappointment. And for one reason or another, people on there, they never seem to have any incentive or any apt to wanting to meet you halfway in the development and the mutual bond in your relationship of your friendship. And it seems as if it's not only the online virtual website, social media, that has this same particular issue. It also has to derive in the same state of mind with in real life in this 21st century of our modern technological society and our advanced human civilization of ours today. And it appears that we as a humanity, as a society, not many of us actually take the opportunity to engage in conversation with complete strangers. And this is something that I do almost on a regular basis, that every time that I step foot outside of my door and the furthest point is right outside the door for most. And as soon as they exit their house, as soon as they step foot out into the reality, they're not very sociable. They're not who they are or how they portray themselves as human beings. And the same thing could be in regards to, others who might create videos like myself. However, there was so many times when I had provided people the benefit of a doubt, when I had provided others with an opportunity to become friends with me, to share that same mutual connectedness in our relationship and our friendship, such as, I've written down my phone number and email. I've given people my, just like this here, obviously, give out my YouTube cards to people, and clearly it says on there subscribe, and please watch my videos. And the purpose of my channel is to share with the world the visions of this journey, is to embrace the world and society through cultures and knowledge and a positive influence and inspiration. And how you deal with your cards is your dealt. How you deal your cards is your dealt. Because that all depends on you as a human being. Whether if or not you should decide you want to befriend me, get to know me as a human being, or accept me and embrace me with open arms into the general collective of you yourselves and into the existence and the apertures of your lives. And whether if your consciousness would provide a more positive detail or negative aspects, for all you know, I could very well be an extraterrestrial or a reptilian inside of a human body, it's human flesh. It could be, whatever. However, I always provide everyone with the benefit of the doubt. I am someone who is not only a spiritualist, I am a philosopher, a visionary. I am someone who generally accepts everyone with open arms, and someone who is versatile and universal in my state of mind and my philosophy. I accept everyone equally for who they are and embrace the differences and yet similarities for who they are as human beings. And the opinions and or criticisms of whatever else of perceptions that is derived and of myself received by others is obviously their choice. That is at their own discretion, at their prerogative. So I must say this, is that I am someone who never had a social life, and I never had a trace of a successful friendships in my existence, in my life. So if you have someone who is a rather dear or good friend to you in your life, I please ask that you respect that and never take that for granted, and always be grateful for that and because of that. Because to have to live your life in such a perspective to where you don't have much of a social life, or you lack that, such as myself, it can be haunting. It could be, extremely lonely. So ultimately, I consider my camera here as a best friend. It's more or less bizarre or strange to have considered a technological 21st century device that is consisted and made up of hardwares and devices and mechanical parts as microscopic, as being a reliable, trusted friend. Ultimately, if you think about it, a camera or music or art and expression has never and never will judge you for who you are as a human being. And as I've said before multiple times, where in my past and even up until this recent present time, I had provided emails and whatever else to people that I've come across and met in my life, and it's always me, the one who has to take it upon myself and invest my time into going out of my way into like the airwaves of the world and contacting others. Otherwise, I never hear anything from them. And it is an unfortunate thing, because I believe more of us as human beings, we need to keep in contact. We need to circulate the positivity in the world and embrace the light for what it is, and to enjoy our lives, and to stop making excuses for what we do in our lives, and to share this visions of our victory over becoming triumphant over the oceans of darkness and obstacles. And in order for us to become ourselves greater human beings, and ultimately at the end of the day, you might feel as if you are alone. However, there are others in this world who actually care for you. And this is a psychology that, a state of mind I had to force myself to overcome in my trials of obstacles and tribulations. And it's taken me a long time in my life to come full circle to realizing that there are others in this world that acknowledge my existence, that know that I'm alive, that know that my voice will always echo throughout history, throughout the world, and airwaves of the world. And I hope to ultimately become a legend in a positive perspective, and for others to become inspired from me, from my teachings, from my philosophy and my endeavors. And I believe that I still hold faith. There are still many good people, good human beings in the world. And if you are someone who is a misanthropic, I truly feel pitiful for you. I truly feel sorry for you, because you have like absolutely no idea that there's so much good in this world that still has to be brought to light and surfaced to the light. How truly sad must it be, us as human beings, for us to resort to our human connectedness within one another through the measures of devices such as texting, and we seem to have lost the capability and responsibility of communication and the forms of communication through texting and instant messages and things of this nature. I miss the times to where human beings would actually, or at least American society or society, throughout the world, would be able to communicate through face-to-face contact, or at least over the phone would suffice. And it seems that we had lost that capability to communicate with one another, and ultimately it seems that people really lost the, how should I say it, they had lost the urge to speak to one another, and they've become more antisocial and nervous and shy in real life. And I don't know what to say about it, honestly. In this world, there's so much darkness and negatives in the world that ultimately it's pathetic. So, like I said, as I've said, there are so many social media in this world, and it's almost infinite. It's almost limitless to knowing how many social media there actually exists in the world. However, one of the greatest things that you have to keep in mind is to be yourself, to be who you are, and embrace the difference that exists inside of you, and ultimately to push out and push to either side of the room for the negatives and the darkness, and you have to embrace the positivity. And it is disgusting to me. I often find myself disappointed with social media in general. How, like an example for myself, I have over 6 on this particular website. I'm not going to name the particular website, however, I will say this: I have over, counting 600 plus more friends, roughly around 600 right now, give or take, more or less. Anyways, the point of it is that I absolutely adore how none of them, or at least 80, I should say 70 or 80% of them, are completely antisocial. They see me online, they see me have all this activity online on a regular basis, almost updated every day. Whenever I upload a new video, I always send out a broadcast message to let them know. And it seems as if not many of them actually keep in contact. And they are the types of individuals who expect everyone else to contact them first to initiate the conversation and keep in contact. And I don't think that's justifiable. I don't think that's really a healthy thing to your state of mind and your psychology. Because I believe that they are only using you as a manipulation of numbers. And I don't know, it's just it's an unfortunate thing to see how many people that there are on social media who are completely antisocial or do not want to keep in contact. And for whatever reason, I found myself in circumstances and in situations to where I have said or done nothing wrong, yet they block you entirely out of nowhere. They just block you. So for whatever reason or another, that's completely fine with me. I am who I am as a human being, and I never will change who I am as a person, as an individual. And it's just it's disgusting to me as a human being that they have absolute zero interest or a prerogative into, developing friendship with one another and keeping in contact furthermore. And for them to not wanting to keep in contact is a stupid thing, really. It's something that is blatantly ignorant, and they choose to drown themselves inside their own apathy. And even in their everyday life, I see status posts that they constantly complain about their lives, of how much obstacles and demons that they have to constantly progress forward in life to overcome those certain obstacles or those certain demons. What little do they realize, or what they lack thereof to realize, is that they do not understand nature or our human civilization, our humanity, our world today. They have little faith or little no faith at all to realize that there are good people out there in the world. And I noticed that not many of them watch my videos, which is also fine as well. They could actually learn something from watching my videos, or gain or receive a positive influence or inspiration of a successful enlightenment. And one thing is that to learn and discover the secrets of the universe is something surreal once you come down to the core to understanding it, such as what I had learned, what I had discovered throughout my life, throughout my existence in my lifetime. And the greatest success is not physical or anything related to humanistic in a physical perspective. The greatest success is developing yourself into a spiritual enlightenment, into your spirit, for your body, your aura, your chi energy, your third eye that flows through every part of your body. And the greatest success is adapting to the world of how to become a greater human being. So ultimately, that's the thing that is missing most from social media, is that people are so desperate to finding alternatives to finding friendships. However, they complain about not being able to establish a friendship relationship, but they're on social media and they're not really interacting with anyone. It's kind of strange. So all in all, whatever, it is what it is. So alright, thank you for taking this opportunity and watching this video. Please share my videos with others, and please subscribe to this channel and provide your feedback in the description below, and I will see you guys soon. See you guys.